Hello and welcome. Today we are doing another reaction video for Harry Potter. This time, we're looking at the best and also the worst Harry Potter theories. Before we get into it, if you guys enjoy this video, hit that like button. It will greatly help the channel with the algorithm. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on all of my socials, all of which are linked down below, and all of which have similar content that I do here on this channel. Now that I've said that, let's get into the video. So the first Harry Potter theory we're going to go over is Snape was supposed to be a vampire. How this is going to work, I'm just going to read out the theory for you guys, and then I'm just going to react to what I thought of it. So going over the Snape vampire theory. Snape was described as bat-like several times in the book, but some fans think this was done deliberately by the author, as she may have wanted Snape to be a vampire. There were telltale signs in the 4th book and also in the 3rd book, as Snape assigned werewolf homework despite Remus Lupin, and after that, Lupin assigned homework on vampires. So, I don't think that this theory is true. It is interesting, but yeah, I think the bat-like was more about his cloak and like his robes. It looked more bat-like. But I do like that part about Lupin giving the homework for vampires after Remus did the same thing for him as a werewolf. That was probably the best evidence, but overall, I don't think that that's true. Next theory, Ron is a seer. Ron is unknowingly a phenomenal seer. In divination class, Ron jokingly made a few statements about Harry getting a windfall and Riddle killing Myrtle, and they both proved to be true at some point in the Harry Potter series. Ron's chess abilities could also be related to his latent ability to see. Again, it's interesting, but I don't think that it's a very strong theory. I think he was just joking around and got lucky. And as for chess abilities, I don't think that that has anything to do with being a seer. I think he's just good at chess. Next theory, Dumbledore's chocolate frog cards are his spies. Dumbledore was mysteriously all-knowing and powerful. This is because his chocolate frog cards were part of a secret web of informants who spied for him all across the wizarding world. This is how he knows everything that's happening all the time. Another interesting theory, I think this one might have more base than the first two. We do know that pictures and paintings have somewhat of a pretty good mind. I mean, Albus Dumbledore's painting, he talked to it a lot, and that was why it was able to help Snape in the way that it was. And he could have done the same for like some of his chocolate frog cards. I don't know. So what I'm thinking right now is Dumbledore's chocolate frog card one painting that goes between all of the different places? Like Phineas Nigelus Black, he has 2 different paintings and he goes back and forth. So are Dumbledore's chocolate frog cards like that, or is each one individual? If it's like Phineas Nigelus Black and it's just one person in all of the chocolate frog cards, that wouldn't make sense. But if it's a different one in every single chocolate frog card, that kind of would make sense, and honestly, I would believe it. Adding to that though, Dumbledore also just has a lot of connections with the Order of the Phoenix, the Ministry, and everybody that basically looks up to him, so everybody wants to report to him. So that's also like, that might dent the theory a little bit. Next one, Neville has the wrong wand. That's not really a theory, that's a fact. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt though. A wand chooses the wizard in Harry Potter, not the other way around. Neville uses his father's wand to honor him, and he's awful at magic. After the wand breaks though, Neville gets a wand that chooses him, and his skills instantly improve, allowing him to even defend himself against Death Eaters. Neville isn't a lousy wizard, he just needed the right tools. That's not a theory, as I said, that's just a fact. That was literally in the books. He got a new wand and he started succeeding. He uses his father's wand and he's no good at magic. Not a theory. Next one, Barty Jr., Bill Weasley, and Percy Weasley used time turners at Hogwarts. This theory suggests that Bill, Percy, and Barty Jr. used time turners at Hogwarts before Hermione did. As the only students who have passed 12 OWLs, the boys would need either a time turner or a miracle to handle their workload during their 5th year. Hermione, arguably the smartest witch in the school, passed only 11 OWLs on her own, so passing 12 is nearly impossible. As Hogwarts allowed Hermione to use the time turner, the school almost certainly let other students do it before her. I would believe that. So one thing that I'm thinking about is McGonagall did have to get permission from the Ministry of Magic and the Minister himself, I believe. But that could have happened with Bill, Percy, and Barty Crouch Jr. So honestly, I like that. I like that theory a lot. I could definitely see that one being true. Moving on, the Hogwarts professors run a Quidditch gambling ring. Wow. Yeah, I'm excited to read this one. The professors at Hogwarts were suspiciously invested in making their houses win the Quidditch Cup. As such, the theory goes that the professors run a high-stakes gambling ring where they bet on Quidditch games. The professors went to great lengths to make sure that the pitches were booked in advance or that their players had the newest broomsticks to ride. It adds up that they were running a gambling ring and had high stakes on the matches. So that's an interesting theory, but I'm thinking back to McGonagall's backstory, and there was a line in there that was, she got injured in the championship game when she was a student, and from then on, she had a burning desire to beat Slytherin. So I think that's why McGonagall is so obsessed with beating Slytherin. And also, so she did get Harry the broom, that is correct, but Snape did not get this, the Slytherins, those fast Nimbus 2001s. That was Draco's father. So no, I don't think that this theory has any basis when you look at those two things. Next theory, Harry imagined the whole story. Many have theorized that while Harry grows increasingly sad, lonely, and hungry in a small cupboard at the Dursleys' house, to escape the neglect he suffers, Harry made himself the protagonist of an elaborate and magical world all within his mind. I hope that's not true, because that would be a huge bummer. And I know a lot of people before Deathly Hallows came out back in like 2007, I think, people were worried that that was how the series was going to end. Harry was going to wake up in the Dursleys' cupboard. And I think that Rowling actually addressed that and said that she would never do that. So with that being said, I don't think that this theory has much basis. And honestly, I hope it's not true, because if it is, that's kind of depressing, because the Harry Potter series was just a dream, basically. Moving on to the next one. Neville is the chosen one. Again, not a theory. Again, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt though. This theory suggests that Harry Potter wasn't the chosen one and that Voldemort attacked the wrong child. The prophecy states that a child born at the end of the 7th month will destroy the Dark Lord. Voldemort assumes it's Harry and goes after the Potter family. But Neville was also born at the end of July, and his parents also defied Voldemort 3 times. Neville proves multiple times that he's capable of being the chosen one, and the story would have turned out very differently if Voldemort had attacked Neville instead. So, no, that's not a theory. It says that Voldemort went after the wrong child. No, that's not. The prophecy is literally about, because Voldemort went after Harry, he is the chosen one. Because he didn't go after Neville, Neville is not the chosen one. It's simple as that. And yeah, the story would have been very different if he did attack Neville, but he didn't. Yeah, not a great theory. No basis and proved wrong in the source material. Next one, Mrs. Norris is an animagus and is in love with Filch. Okay. Also, yes, that is how you say animagus. It is said like a J instead of a G. The movie said it wrong according to Rowling. Fun fact for you. All right, let me read this theory now. Filch was very attached to his cat, and fans think that Mrs. Norris was an animagus who escaped an abusive family in her cat form to be with Filch. Dumbledore might have given Mrs. Norris sanctuary, saying that she could never leave her and Filch's room unless in a cat form. Okay, so I thought that this theory would be okay if she wasn't an animagus, but rather a maledictus, the way Nagini was. I think this would have been much better if she was a human that could change into a cat and human at will, but then over time she slowly stays in her cat form and can never go back to the human form. That would make way more sense, because they would fall in love and then she would be forced into this cat form, and then obviously they would be like the duo that they are now. Especially because saying that Dumbledore wouldn't have let Mrs. Norris leave her room unless she was in a cat form, he would never do that. He would for Dumbledore to say, you need to be in your cat form when you're outside of the room, no. I think it would have been better if it was a maledictus. All right, next theory, the Dursleys don't hate Harry. Horcruxes affect the mood of those around them, as demonstrated by Ron and Harry's reaction to the locket. Harry later learns he's a Horcrux himself, as a fragment of Voldemort's soul went into his body when the Dark Lord attempted to kill him. This theory states that the Dursleys did not hate Harry because of who he is, but instead because Harry being a Horcrux inadvertently changed their moods. So I've heard this theory before. I actually made a TikTok on it way back when I first made my TikTok, I think back in like early 2021. But it is possible. The only thing is they're terrible to everyone. Like, they're terrible to Mr. Weasley, they were terrible to Lily, they were terrible to James. They're just not good people. It wasn't just Harry that they were bad to. Obviously, they were the worst to Harry, but I think that's because they had the most time with him by far, because he lived with them. But there's also the fact that Harry is a Horcrux, but he didn't affect Ron and Hermione, who are with him way more than the Dursleys are during the course of the 7 books. So he's with the Dursleys not that often. He's there for the summer, and during the 5th, 6th, and 7th books, he's barely with them at all, just locked in his room. So I think that if he was a Horcrux, it would have affected Ron and Hermione as well. So I think that kind of debunks this theory. All right, next one. Salazar Slytherin was Herpo the Foul. Interesting. Herpo the Foul was known for his devastating creation of Horcruxes and basilisks. Fans theorized that Herpo the Foul is the same person as Salazar Slytherin. It's possible that Herpo made many Horcruxes that were never found and took on many identities to stay hidden. Herpo and Salazar are essentially the same character. They both were Parseltongues and they both use dark forms of magic. That's interesting. So I do love the idea. I've always found that really interesting in fiction, when somebody lives for a very long time and then they take on different identities throughout history. And obviously Herpo the Foul and Salazar Slytherin are some of the most notable, not just dark wizards, but wizards in the history of the wizarding world. So that is a very interesting theory. The only thing is, so Salazar Slytherin did eventually die. So does that mean that somebody found his Horcruxes, destroyed them, and then killed him? But it also could be that Herpo / Salazar, according to the theory, could have just been done with life, destroyed their own Horcrux, and then just died of natural causes. So I don't know, like, I could see that happening, because no one wants to live forever, you know, like, that's depressing. You watch all of the people you love around you die. It's an interesting theory. I don't think it's as strong as some of the other ones that I liked, but overall, I find it super intriguing. Next theory, Ginny used the love potion on Harry. Oh boy. Here we go. My favorite couple once again being bashed, I bet. Let's read it. Ginny Weasley develops a crush on Harry when she first sees him at the train station. This crush grows over the years, despite Harry only thinking of Ginny as Ron's little sister, but his feelings abruptly change in his 6th year. Ginny and Harry's relationship seems to come out of nowhere in The Half-Blood Prince. I knew it was coming. And she and Hermione had looked at love potions in Fred and George's shop right before he started having feelings for her, leading to the theory that Ginny used a love potion on Harry to get him to fall in love with her. First of all, I have to address that it didn't come out of nowhere. Their relationship did not come out of nowhere. I made a timeline of their entire relationship, and they were my favorite couple before making that, but they grew in my heart even more after making that video, because I see that it was a slow progression over time. Harry didn't just abruptly be like, oh, I have feelings for Ginny. It was a slow process, and it started around the 5th book, I think, and then went into the 6th book. So it didn't come out of nowhere, no. And on top of that, if she were to give him a love potion, she would have to keep that up for the rest of their lives, because he stayed in love with her and ended up marrying her, which we know would not happen because Merrippy Gaunt, Voldemort's mother, used love potions on Voldemort's father, Tom Riddle Sr., and as soon as she stopped giving it to him, he was like, oh shoot, I don't like you, and left. So I think it's unlikely, especially because Ginny would have to keep that up for so long, and I don't think that's possible. Especially with the busy lives that they led when they were adults, Harry being the head of the Aura department, and Ginny being a professional Quidditch player, plus having 3 kids, there's no way. There's no way she would have time to do that. Moving on to the next one. George Weasley is Willy Wonka. Wow. This theory suggests that George turns back time to create a new life for himself as Willy Wonka. I feel like he didn't have to turn back time. I feel like he just could have been Willy Wonka, but moving on. George has a deep knowledge of candy due to his experience with Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. He and Wonka have some of the same ideas, like candies that cause illness, and most of all, Wonka's inventions seem impossible to make in the Muggle world. There had to have been magic involved. Yeah, so as I said earlier, I don't think he would have had to go back in time to be Willy Wonka. I feel like he could have just, I guess Willy Wonka was in the 70s. That's when that movie came out. I think it's a cool theory, but I don't think it has a lot of basis. I think Willy Wonka is just like, this is how I see it. Willy Wonka is a fictional character in the fictional story of Harry Potter. So if Harry Potter was real, this Willy Wonka story would be fiction in that world. So I don't think that, I don't think that Willy Wonka is a real person in the Wizarding world. He's just a fictional character. But it is an interesting thought because they do have a lot in common. I don't know, Willy Wonka, he's kind of a psychopath, like going after these kids. I can't see George doing that. Like Willy Wonka, like poisoned these kids, put them down, killed like a number of them. And I can't see George doing that. I just can't. Moving on to the next one, Crookshanks was the Potter's family cat. So I've seen a little bit about this, so let's read it. Fans theorized that Hermione's pet Crookshanks was actually the Potter's family cat. It is not clear what happened to the Potter's pet, and this theory is based on the fact that Crookshanks desperately chased after Scabbers, aka Peter Pettigrew. The cat knew that Peter was the traitor and Sirius was innocent since he saw everything go down. As such, the cat would likely try to set the record straight about Sirius Black's innocence. A very interesting theory because the Potters did have a cat that looked a lot like Crookshanks in the official Harry Potter art from J.K. Rowling's website. And also, Sirius went to the Potter's house after James and Lily died. So Crookshanks probably saw just the distraught look on his face, the sadness, and knew that he did not do it. And on top of that, Crookshanks defends Sirius to his last breath in The Prisoner of Azkaban, literally going on Sirius's chest to make sure that he was not hit by a spell by Harry. So it is an interesting theory, but at the same time, Sirius and Crookshanks did talk at the Whomping Willow during the events of the third book, and then that is how she knew that Wormtail was actually Scabbers. Although, did Crookshanks start going after Scabbers before he talked to Sirius? If that's the case, then this theory would have a little bit more basis. But overall, a very interesting theory because we don't know what happened to the Potter's cat, and the cat does look a lot like Crookshanks. Interesting theory. Moving on to the next one, the tale of the three brothers repeats itself. If this is what I think it is, I think J.K. Rowling actually confirmed this one. I don't think she planned it, but she was like, I like this, I'm gonna make this canon. But let's read it. I don't want to get ahead of myself. The oldest brother, like Voldemort, boasts about the way the Elder Wand protects him, but dies because of his ego. The middle brother attempts to bring the love of his life back from the dead with the Resurrection Stone, but ends up taking his own life to be with her, much like Snape died for Lily, the love of his life. Then the youngest brother uses the invisibility cloak to hide from death, but eventually accepts his fate and gives the cloak to his son. This draws parallels to Harry, who frequently uses his father's invisibility cloak to hide from deadly danger, and he also willingly gave his life. This theory also suggests that Dumbledore represents death as he plays a vital role in Voldemort and Snape's deaths, and helps Harry at the Heavenly King's Cross, and gives Harry the invisibility cloak, just like Death gave the invisibility cloak to the last brother. So yeah, this is what I thought it was, and I think J.K. Rowling did confirm that this was canon, but I don't think she planned it. I think it was kind of just a coincidence, but it does add up really, really well. But I don't think that she looked that deeply at it. I feel like it was just kind of a coincidence, but a very, very cool and intriguing coincidence, honestly. I really do love it, especially the part about Dumbledore being Death. The fact that in the Tale of the Three Brothers, every single character in that book, all four of those characters, match up with a character in the series. That's pretty cool. Moving on to the next one, Dumbledore planted the Weasleys in Harry's life. Fans speculate that Dumbledore had a greater control over Harry's life than anyone knew, including his meeting with the Weasleys. The theory says that Dumbledore told Molly Weasley to be on the platform at King's Cross, loudly talking about muggles and the platform number on purpose so that Harry would be drawn to them. Also, even though Molly went to Hogwarts and had 7 children attend Hogwarts, she still forgot the platform number. This was to ensure that the first family that Harry met and befriended were on the right side. So there's a few things about Molly asking Ginny what the platform number is. I think it might have been because she was just testing the youngest child who had not gone to school yet, because as we know, they don't go to school until they're basically middle school age. So it's up to the parents to educate them up until that point in literature, reading, math, all of that. So that might have been her in her teacher mom mode for Ginny. But overall, yeah, I think that Dumbledore does have a lot of control over a lot of things in Harry's life. So it would make sense that he would want the Weasleys to be the first family that he ever saw, especially because Harry, well, no, I was gonna say that he could have been influenced by some Slytherins, but at the same time, well, no, all right. So let me give you my thought process. So what I was gonna say was that Harry only disliked Draco because he made a rude comment about Ron. But in the book, he actually met Draco before he even met Ron in Madame Malkin's robe shop, and he disliked Draco then too. So I don't know. I guess he wouldn't have been influenced by Slytherins, but I guess it is good that he met people that had family in the Order of the Phoenix. Obviously, Molly and Arthur were not in the Order for the first Wizarding War, but her two brothers, the Pruitt brothers, Fabian and Gideon, were in the Order of the Phoenix. So obviously, Dumbledore loved the Weasley family and mourned those two brothers who died for his cause. So long story short, I'm convincing myself that I think it is possible. I do like this theory. Next theory, Ron is a time-traveling Albus Dumbledore. So I've heard this theory, but I never really looked into it closely, so I'm actually kind of excited to read this. This theory is based on the fact that there's a great physical resemblance between Albus and Ron. Both are described as tall with a prominent nose, red hair, and blue eyes. Yes, Dumbledore had red hair before it turned white. They also both love candles and playing chess, and Dumbledore knew beforehand that Ron would eventually abandon Harry in his mission. This explains why Dumbledore understood Ron so well, even though he barely had any exchanges with him. Furthermore, both Ron and Dumbledore have in common that they, unlike Harry, are very greedy. Ron wanted to be famous, and Dumbledore wanted to be recognized for his power. So, going back to that candles part, Oh, it says candies, not candles. Oh my god. So they both love candy and playing chess. Okay. See, I don't wear my glasses. I said this in my last reaction video. I was like, I don't like how I look in glasses. And honestly, you guys were so freaking nice. I had all these people reach out to me and they were like, you look so good in glasses. You should wear glasses. So thank you to you guys for that. That was really nice. But yeah, I thought about wearing them for this, but decided not to. But I actually did test it. I was going to wear glasses in this video, I will say that. But when I put them on, I realized that it reflects the lights behind the camera. But anyway, going back to this, yeah. So they do both love candies and playing chess. But another thing that was weird to me is Ron wants to be famous. I guess like he did want to be recognized when he looked in the Mirror of Erised, but it wasn't to be famous. It was more to not be in the shadow of his siblings and his older brothers. But yeah, I guess that they do both have like rather large noses, and I guess Dumbledore had his nose broken when he was punched by Aberforth, his brother. So that would also mean that, how does that work? So like we know both of their parents. Like we know that Albus was born to Kendra and Percival Dumbledore, while Ron was born to Molly and Arthur. So if we know both of their parents, that kind of debunks this theory a little bit. Because if you're the same person, you can't have two different parents, much less like all of those siblings on both sides. Like Albus has Ariana and Aberforth, while Ron has, well, the other 6 Weasley children. So I feel like that kind of just debunks this theory. I don't know why more people haven't brought that up, because I feel like this is a very popular theory. I feel like that's pretty obvious evidence that debunks it. I don't know. Maybe people do debunk it. It's just famous. It's like one of the most famous theories because people love to debunk it. I don't know. I didn't look into the theory too much. But anyway, yeah, I think that's a weaker theory. And the last one, J.K. Rowling is Rita Skeeter. Rita Skeeter, the obnoxious reporter for the Daily Prophet, could be J.K. Rowling herself. In other words, the whole story was written by someone with first-hand information about Harry's life. J.K. Rowling is a squib, and she chose to document the most important series of events in the late 20th century in the form of 7 fictional novels. I mean, the obnoxious part adds up with the recent activity of J.K. Rowling. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting theory. I don't know, like maybe J.K. Rowling isn't Rita Skeeter herself, because Rita is very inaccurate and very biased. I mean, like all of her articles about Harry were just completely false. She just made stuff up. So I don't know, like I feel like if you made this theory that J.K. Rowling wasn't Rita Skeeter but was a squib who wrote this, I feel like that would be more likely, and I think much more interesting too, because I don't know. But overall, yeah, I think it would have been better if J.K. was just a squib who wasn't a character in the series. But I guess it does have that like clickbait thing to it that Rita Skeeter is J.K. Rowling. Like, it's a much more pleasing theory to Harry Potter fans than to just say that she's a squib. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of these theories, and let me know what you thought of my thoughts on the theories. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know if you guys like these videos. The 2 videos that I did that were unscripted were the 2 best out of the last 10 videos that I posted, views-wise. So clearly you guys like it. That's why I thought I would jump on here and do another unscripted one and react to something in Harry Potter. Might try to do it for other series like Hunger Games, Percy Jackson. I've been super into Percy Jackson right now because I just reread all of the books. I just finished the first series last night, actually, and I'm going to do the Heroes of Olympus series next, getting ready for the Percy Jackson show. But again, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on Instagram to see more of my personal life, like my cute dog Loki, and some behind the scenes movie flame stuff. I also do similar content on TikTok and Twitter that I do here on this channel, so if you like what I do here, check them out. All the handles are right below me, and links are in the description. Over here are my wonderful patrons. If you want to be featured on the next video, plus get a few other perks, become a patron today. As always, if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe, and look out for more great movie flame videos on the way.